Now time to introduce tonight's guest, so please welcome Queen of Countdown, Susie Dent, and the star of brilliant new comedy film, The Incomer, Domhnall Gleeson.
Yeah!
Welcome. Now, Domhnall, you and Chat Show Sofas have a great time. Last time you were on one, it was Graham Norton and a whole bunch of other people, including one Miss Taylor Swift. That resulted in you being in the Opalite music video. 2 questions. Bucket list moment, and how cool of an uncle did it make you?
It made me a pretty cool uncle, and yes, it was a bucket list moment. I would also like to say if anyone here has a music video they'd like to make, I'm available for work.
Fantastic.
I tell you what, I'm looking forward to your next film because it might well change the lives of all of us here.
Do you know what?
I like the way you think. Yeah, that's good.
Good work.
Susie, let's talk about Taylor Swift because she, of course, is a hugely influential cultural phenomenon. And she's changed the English language, hasn't she?
She has. So she is now, in the English dictionary, a Swiftie, obviously a follower of Taylor Swift, is in there. And do you know what? That's pretty rare. You'll find Trekkies, you'll find Beehives and things, but to actually have your name in the dictionary, the only one I can really remember in my time was doing Adelia Smith. Who knows whether Nigel has put microwave in the dictionary. But yeah, it's pretty rare, so it's impressive.
There we
Just
go.
one of the many impressive things.
She's an impressive person.
Yeah. Very impressive. Well, very shortly, Susie is going to be telling us how she's turned her linguistic skills into a brand new murder mystery novel where every word is quite literally a clue.
Yes, but time now to head to the Scottish Highlands, which is the setting of Domhnall's heartwarming new comedy film, The Incomer, which has already taken home an award at the Sundance Film Festival.
Yes, it follows the story of a brother and sister, Isla and Sandy, who've been living really happily on a remote island for 30 years. That's until a slightly awkward council worker turns up to evict them.
When they were wee, they were told, allow no incomer. Survive.
Incomers.
Hello? You are hereby informed of your impending eviction. Have you got Wi-Fi? You both need to leave. Back on the mainland, your lives would be easier.
Far back as time goes, the family's called this isle home. You should have killed you.
Stop, I'm a wizard!
A what?
A wizard? I know I don't look like a wizard, but I am one. I'm a wizard.
Kill the wizard.
Now, Domhnall, JB and myself were lucky enough to see this film on a Monday morning, which was actually perfect because it's so uplifting, bit weird, which we love.
Yeah, in a good way.
In a great way. Now, you play Daniel, and he is tasked with relocating this brother and sister who've been on this remote island. Why is it such a challenge for him to try and get them off of there?
Well, he doesn't normally do face-to-face, so he's sort of battling his own inner, he finds it very hard to relate to people and talk to people. He's quite nervous. And then they are absolutely insane. So I think the mixture of the two things together, they've never met people from the mainland, really. And they've been brought up totally on their own. And so they're just ready to kind of attack anyone who arrives. And then they also both, because he's the first person they've met, really, they both kind of fall slightly in love. You know what I mean? Like with him, which is he's not prepared for that either. So it's all a bit much for Daniel.
I like that. It's all a bit much. That should be on the poster for the film. It's all a bit much. I mean, even though they're a little bit hostile towards him, shall we say, at the start, they do eventually find a bit of common ground, don't they?
Yeah, I think that's the kind of the bigger message that's within the film is that he goes to them and he has to learn to accept who they are and they have to kind of accept what he brings. And I think that's a really nice message for the moment. But it's also just really funny and heartfelt and makes me feel very warm when I see the film, when I think about the film. It's like it's a nice place to spend time.
Yeah. Now, I mean, it was shot in the stunning Scottish Highlands. Beautiful scenery. What was it like filming in such a remote location, though?
Well, it was that thing that people say where you get all the seasons in a day. It was sort of, we got attacked by, everything. It was absolutely lashing rain and then blistering sunshine, which is worse for me because I'm a redhead. So it was like, it was really, really, it was very intense and very beautiful and an amazing thing to film in that part of Scotland where I'd never been before. Yeah.
And the local wildlife, we understand, really wanted to get in on the action. They wanted their close-up too.
I thought you were talking about the local people. I was like, you can't call them wildlife. What are you doing? No.
That's wildlife.
How dare you?
Strictly the animals.
The people of Wick are gorgeous.
Yes.
No, it was, we filmed on the edge of a cliff. And it was very scary. One of my co-stars had a bit of a panic attack. It was a really intense day, and they hung me over the edge of the cliff. And they were filming down to me. And then it was that moment that I got, like, literally like attacked by a swarm of midges. And to the point that they couldn't use the shot. There was too many midges on my face and between myself and the camera to use. And yeah, maybe one of my worst days on set ever. So thanks for bringing it up as well. Yeah.
Healing.
Yeah, it
Healing
is. Yeah,
circle.
this is. Yeah, thank you for that.
Yeah. Speaking of healing, folklore and magic and mysteries and storytelling is a huge part and a huge theme of the film. Now, your character kind of claims a story that's famous of his own, doesn't he?
Yeah, they tell him these great stories about their own mythology. And then they ask him, does he know any stories? And he says, yes, he does. And then he just basically makes The Lord of the Rings a story about himself. So he's talking about a guy named Frodo who works for the local council, who's kind of got to go to the paper shredder in Mordor, this sort of stuff. And so he kind of took that on. And so a big part of the film is him imagining that he's invented Lord of the Rings, which is his favourite thing in the world.
Yeah, and it's one of their favourite stories, isn't
Exactly.
it?
And one of your favourites, Susie, I know you're a massive Tolkien fan because just like your good self, he was also a lexicographer. That's so cool.
He was. He worked at the Oxford English Dictionary. He wrote the entry for Walrus, which is one of my all-time favourites, as well as for Hobbit. He actually wrote the definition of Hobbit, which he took from Hole Dweller, I think. And yeah, it's actually in my novel as well because he was so amazing. He actually, instead of creating a language for his world, he actually had the languages first and then invented a world in which people could speak them. That was how important it was to him. He was so steeped in language and sort of, Anglo-Saxon history and mythology and legend. He was extraordinary.
Oh, he's so clever as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
Now, Domhnall, we have to mention The Paper, of course. It's returning for Series 2, the hugely successful sequel to the US Office. Now, when the show started, am I right in thinking that you got in touch with Steve Carell for some advice?
Well, yeah, I'd actually done a show. I'd done a limited series with Steve Carell where I was a serial killer who kidnapped him and kept him in my basement to give me therapy. And it wasn't a comedy. So that was mad. And we did this amazing show together called The Patient, and I called him up basically to get his blessing. And I'd also been working with John Krasinski at the time, and I talked to both of them, and they were just insanely generous, as you would imagine. And they said you should go and do it. And I did.
Yeah.
Glad
you did.
Exactly.
Yeah, so am I.
And don't forget, Domhnall's new film, The Incomer, is out Friday, the 4th of September.
Yeah.
Domhnall, we need to talk about your dad, because you grew up, visiting him often on film sets. Now, I'm assuming it wasn't the deep process of watching him act and explore his art that got you inspired on set, was it? As like a little kid.
Why would you say that?
Because something tells me, Domhnall Gleeson.
Yeah, so it was actually the first time I was on set. So he was a teacher until I was a little bit older, and then he was started doing plays, and then he played Michael Collins in a great sort of made. I don't know if it was. Anyway, it was a film, and when we visited him on set, it was my first time being on a set, and there was free biscuits, and I genuinely think that's why I'm an actor. But I've been talking to my friends recently, and loads of my friends work in offices, and there's biscuits there too.
Oh, there you go.
I've just been told, so it's like ridiculous.
But that film set catering, I mean, come on.
In America, in the UK and Ireland, it's terrible. And I don't mind saying it.
Now, listen, so just quickly, your TV series, Alan Carr, Secret Genius is coming back. Are you